Hello. Today I'm going to be reading out chapter 4 of my book, Philosophizer's Bible. The chapter is entitled Philosophy for Apes. If you've read the description, you might have an idea of what this is going to be about. Otherwise, well, you'll just have to guess. I wanted to thank Alex for his very interesting comment. He asked me whether the idea of being a philosophizer was closer in some ways to Eastern philosophy, or possibly continental philosophy, than it is to analytic philosophy, which is the English-speaking tradition that I was trained in. There's not an easy answer to that, but what I said was that, firstly, I'm not an expert in Indian philosophy, for example, but what I have looked at, the metaphysics and epistemology of Indian philosophy in the classical period is immensely complex. I mean, the debates, if you look at them, they give a very strong impression of being like the kind of things you get in analytic philosophy. And I said in my reply that it's like ratiocination gone mad. Because when you look at that kind of reasoning from the outside, you see how it's just a tissue of assumptions and presumptions. From the inside, you seem to be making incredibly important progress. But it's just not the case. It's just wordplay. And I also compared it to rabbinical commentary, because it has a kind of a logic to it. But at the same time, this logic, again, if you're not part of the tradition, if you're not inured in it, is totally unpersuasive. But the thing that Indian philosophy had going for it was a very great respect for ultimate questions, and the belief that there is something we can call an ultimate reality beyond the world of, that's revealed to our senses or to scientific investigation. So that's one point to them, I said. And as for continental philosophy, well, you can give them a point for experimenting with different ways of doing philosophy, not just going down the straight and narrow of the analytic method. But one thing that looms very large in that tradition, the continental tradition, is overcoming metaphysics, seeing metaphysics as some kind of illusion, trying to explain how it is that human beings fell into this illusion. Well, I'm not going to be the least bit persuaded by someone telling me that I've fallen into some kind of illusion. Refute me or shut up. You don't explain. It's like a Marxist using the argument, oh, you're only saying that because you're a capitalist, or you're only saying that because you've got lots of money. Give me an argument. Persuade me. Don't try to explain why I'm wrong on the assumption that I am wrong. Forget it. So anyway, so much for that. And he also asked me, can you define a philosophizer in necessary and sufficient conditions? This is a kind of a trite formula that analytic philosophers use. And I said, no, but my book, Philosophizer's Bible, to show it to you again, is, the whole book, an attempt to characterize what it is that a philosophizer is or does, what it is to be a philosophizer. And of course it's something I've just invented, or rather I've used that as a label, because it never meant that before. But like Humpty Dumpty, I can use the word the way I want to use it. I've invented a new way of using that word. And what it denotes is something real. That's the point. It's just a pure convention. It's just my decision, my personal decision to use the word. But what it denotes is something real, and that's what I'm trying to prove in my book. To be a philosophizer is something real. Anyway, I'm just going to get on with chapter 4. And then maybe saying one or two more words about it. Philosophy for Apes. Who are you? I wonder about who might be reading this, and also to some extent, why? What do you think you're going to learn from these pages? Why the interest? Actually, on reflection, the question why isn't really so critical. It doesn't matter, or it shouldn't. People pick up books for all sorts of random reasons, or watch video, if that matter, YouTube videos. So let's not pursue that now. Are you male or female? I am a man. In case you didn't realise. Well, that's rather silly, isn't it? I mean, on a YouTube video, if you didn't realise I was a man, there would be a serious problem. The words sound strange to my ears, to me, in my head, to be a man, to be human, a human who is also a man. Gender is a well-researched topic, some would say over-researched topic in philosophy. I'm not going to indulge in the pretense, as some writers do, that it really doesn't matter what sex you are, as a writer or a reader, because the meaning, the message is the same. The truth is the truth. No, it ain't. Not by a long chalk. It matters whether the writer is male or female. It matters whether the reader is male or female. That's my view. Here's something funny. Pick up any new book of philosophy from the bookshop or library shelf, and you will notice a curious phenomenon. She has now become the default third-person pronoun. They're all doing it. I mean, everyone. That shows something about the power of consensus, and the sanctions, too, for those who foolishly try to swim against the tide. You won't catch me using she in 100 years, but no complaints. I don't have a horse in this race. This is not a campaign, and I'm not arguing with you or anyone. I'm not writing for you, whomsoever you may be. I'm writing for myself. Oh, writers say that, don't they? You know, when they're unsure of their audience, I'm writing for myself. Well, I actually am writing for myself, so there you go. This is all for me, and as it happens, my being male means something to me. That's how I was cast into the world by the genetic lottery. My blessing, my burden. As I've already indicated, if you want to come along with me on my fairground ride, you are most welcome, whoever you are, male or female. I can use the company. It's a long time since I've been sick all over someone, haha. But is it necessary that you're human? Now that's the question. Nietzsche, for one, thought so. What it means to be, quote, human, all too human, unquote, was a major focus of his inquiry. Other philosophical writers seem to pretend that it doesn't matter at all. I suppose a book on systems of formal logic could be understood as well by an AI as by a human being. Fair enough. But then there are all those works in the middle where it's not clear at all whom the words are for, or how the writer imagines the words will be taken. Human knowledge, its scope and limits, Bertrand Russell. Why so limited? I don't know who you are, and that's a fact. If this book should by some miracle survive the destruction of Earth, you could even be an alien from Proxima Centauri. Wouldn't that be something? Right now, however, in my present mood, I don't picture a human, or an alien, or an AI. I picture an ape. A 6.5 foot tall, 600-pound great ape. An admirable species. If it wasn't for us humans, apes would be the pinnacle of evolution. No small task to keep an animal like that. The food bill must be enormous. You could be male, or you could be female, with hairy breasts or a little pink penis. Staring hard at the black squiggles on this page, with furrowed brow, eyes darting along each line. Amazing, you can read. I see nervous anticipation in your face. You've never met a human, yet you suspect or feel imperceptibly that something is coming, but you don't know, cannot imagine what it is. Only that when that something comes, it will be your doom. For the great apes on Earth, that something did come, and as a result many of you are now close to extinction, but that's a discussion for another occasion. We are all apes. Nietzsche said that. He didn't mean simply in a biological sense. Look at them, and then you will realize that you are looking at yourselves. The only meaningful, objective value that can be conceived, the only value we have as a species, belongs to that which has not yet come. The one who will supersede us, who is as distant for us as we are from apes in the jungle or on the plain, that for the sake of whose existence we are merely a route, a bridge, a means to a greater end. The Overman. Übermensch. Who is the Overman? My take? The Overman will not rule over man or woman, for we will be long gone. The Overman will have no need of penis or breasts. After the coming of the Overman, the natural cycle of creation will be broken. When apes get together and copy one another, we call it imitation. When humans do it, we call it culture. All you do, all you have ever done, is imitate. Ape in essence, planet of the apes. You so-called humans know full well what you are. Your novelists have written about it. Naturalists know it as an axiomatic truth. The naked ape. Well, that's Aldous Huxley, Pierre Boulle, Desmond Morris. We do not know exactly why or how we came to be, only that our sole purpose is to produce more copies of ourselves so that our genes may survive, as Dawkins says. How absurd. And if we were designed by some superintelligent aliens from Proxima Centauri, say, or a god, how much more absurd would that be? To be someone's chemistry experiment, or entertainment, or worse. You human beings have invented a game you call philosophy. A game of imitation, a pseudo-contest, a way to give your whoops and yells an impression of meaning. No more useless an activity has ever been conceived. Of course your philosophy was never intended to have a use. It is something you do to amuse yourselves, and how easily you are amused. I am an ape. You are an ape. I accept that fact as my fate, my doom. Regardless of all I may strive for, now or in the future, I will never be anything but an ape. I will die an ape. What to do? What to do? Keep myself amused. What else is there? After 4 decades of thinking and writing, frankly, I'm finding it harder and harder to find ways to amuse myself. Surrounded by apes, with nothing else to admire or take inspiration from, I've had to create my own amusements. Well, what do you say to that? Yeah, this is what I meant by writing for myself, and the idiocracy, etc. There is certainly, in the idea of being a philosophizer, this sense of, this painful, excruciating sense of limitation. The fact that there are these questions out there that we will never be able to answer, or I will never be able to answer, and that this incapacity has something to do with what we are, what we were made to be, or evolved to be, or whatever the explanation, the ultimate explanation. It's beyond me, it's beyond us. And then there's the thought that maybe some other being, some kind of Übermensch, not in the sort of the Nazi sense, but some kind of genetically modified, cybernetically enhanced super being would be better at this than we are, we poor humans, human or too human. It's a thought, I suspect not, but still, as I said, it is that sense of limitation. That's one of the, if you like, the defining characteristics, if you want to talk about definitions, one of the defining characteristics of the philosophizer. That's all for today. See you again soon. Bye.